Hey everyone, Muni's 20, back again, continuing our, let's say, quite fun to just revisit the 2024 media thread this way. This many years into, months into the year, this many years into the year. So one thing I forgot to mention last time that I wish I could have done, but I didn't think about it, and it's more work for me that I don't want to do because I'm lazy, is I kind of wish that I had recorded some gameplay of each of the games that I'm talking about just to play. Missed opportunity on my part. I don't know if I should start doing that now with the games I'm playing still, like or I guess for September would be better. And then just do that, and then for next year, actually do that the whole way through. I think that'll be better, because I think the issue with it is that depending on the games, this means I would have to reinstall all these games, run around and do stuff in them for like 5 minutes, and then uninstall them again, which depending on the game, some of these things that I have are big, obviously. Some of them aren't, but it's just... I'm sure there's people out there like, you're lazy. And you're right. Not gonna lie. But it's fun. This is nice. I'll change it up, definitely, for September. And definitely for next year. For sure. Anyway, starting February. On February 5th, I finished watching the second season of Spy Family. Yeah. Gosh, it was good. Spy Family was... I watched it, the first season back in 2023 simply because of all that I've heard about it. It was one of those animes that it came out and it was just making the rounds where everyone's talking about how good it is. You know, and the manga fans were like really happy about it. At least I think they were. The general consensus I saw is they were happy about the adaptation. And just even the premise by itself is so funny that was exactly why I wanted to see it. You know, the father's a spy, the mother's an assassin. The daughter's a psychic or a telepath. The dog can see the future, and they're all in a family, and none of them knows that the other is capable of what they're capable of, except the girl, the baby, the telepath. She knows exactly what's going on, but no one else does. And it's just such a ridiculous concept, but man, is it entertaining! Like, just they're such a great fake family. I love them. Season 1 was fun. Season 2 was fantastic. And I heard about the cruise ship arc a lot, because one complaint people have about it, which is a complaint I hear about in a lot of different shows, and I understand why people are upset about it, is that generally it focuses so hard on one specific character, or maybe two, that it leaves another one out in the wind. You know, and a lot of the story arcs have to do with Lloyd or Anya, generally, not Yor. So people were really excited to get to the cruise ship arc. They were talking about that all the time because it's like a Yor heavy focused thing. I was like, all right, we'll see what it's like. It was awesome. It was really cool. Like, it lasted a lot longer than I thought it would, actually. Was it like 4 episodes? I can't remember. But I was just surprised. It was great, though. It was awesome. And the season as a whole was just a whole lot of fun. And I really enjoyed it. It's a good show. And I know there's a movie that just came out, Spy Family Code White, I think it's called. Haven't seen it. Looking forward to it, though. And then I assume there's probably going to be a 3rd season. I don't know. The only thing I know about it, the only other thing I know about the future of Spy Family, not even really spoiler territory, is that from what I'm aware of where it is in the manga right now, it's not like a weekly manga, I think. Like, it doesn't have, like, the most consistent updates. Right. I'm not 100% sure on this. But, like, that apparently the most recent, like, I don't know, 10 or so chapters, I don't know, have been, like, a flashback story about different characters, and it's been split. From the little that I've seen about people who keep up with the manga, I've seen split opinions on whether that was good or not. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that because I don't read the manga. I'm satisfied with just watching the show. It was a lot of it's a good show though, and I enjoy it, and I can't wait for another season. Whenever that drops, I'll definitely hang out. I've not been spoiled on anything. If there's anything super crazy massive that happens, it's just fun. It's just a really fun, nice show. Also, slice of lifey, life slicey, whatever. All right, this next one's a fun one. The Elephant Collection. February 10th, I finished it, and February 11th, I completed it. So, as it says right there. And I'm sure a lot of people who've been on the internet for a while have played a bunch of Flash games on Newgrounds, Congregate, Armor Games, wherever. Like, these things used to be, they probably still are everywhere. These, well, they're not Flash-based anymore, can't do that. But these Flash-based games were everywhere in all browsers. They were anything from like knockoff or like just silly little made Mario games, Sonic games, to like original games of all kinds, and like that was a fun time back. Jeez, like definitely over a decade ago, of just playing a bunch of those, enjoying a lot of them, immediately forgetting what they were. There's one that I don't think I'll ever be able to find again. And this, when I heard about this, I was like, oh, that sounds great. Because one thing that I remember from Newgrounds, I was always looking forward to a new Blue Elephant game. And the creator of those compiled them all together into the Elephant Collection, released that on Steam at some point. And I finally got it. I had a lot of fun. There was some frustrating stuff in there too, for sure. But I had a lot of fun. The games are just... It's just playing them really took me back. Just being on Newgrounds and like seeing a new one on the front page or a new one in the user's updated profile and being like, yay, another one to play. And you know, Newgrounds had medals, which are basically function exactly like achievements. And I always wanted to get all of them. I wanted to get a lot. So it's fun to revisit that and just enjoy the Elephant Collection as a whole. I think the only thing I didn't like about it really is the last game. Like where the elephant has to run across the world, you know, and dodge random obstacles and stuff. I thought that one was really low effort. No offense as a creator, and also it did not run well. Like even dropping the quality and everything low, it was really fidgety on Steam, which was weird. But darn, it was fun. It was a good time. I think Elephant Quest was like the best one, like full on big RPG adventure. That was a good time. So yeah, that was fun. And also, a nice little thing is after you beat all the games and you're gonna unlock the ending, the menu, the main theme on the area where you select what game you're gonna play, changes to the full vocal track, which I think is called, oh shoot, 2020. I think Jason Woodward or Josh Woodward. It's a name like that. It's a song of his, and I have it on my Spotify. I added it to my Spotify after hearing it a few times in the game. It's really good. Really good. I recommend listening to it. It's nice. This is a good song. Fun game. Okay, this next stuff's gonna be real fun. Yeah, I've known that the Syphon Filter games were added to the PlayStation, the PS Store at some point. I don't remember when, but I always been like, I'm gonna get them. All of them. Play them all again. And I did. I bought all 5 of them. Played them all one after the other. Knock them out. Had a blast. Because on February 11th, I bought, finished, and completed the original Syphon Filter. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the trophy requirements for all 5 games, super easy. If you're into getting plats, like if you just like platting games, I very much recommend getting all 5 of these, because you can plat each of them like one a day. I've always loved Syphon Filter. It's one of my favorite classic games. My favorite old school games. And it's one of the few ones that I still would like to see remade. I was going to say remastered, but I mean, they've already re-released them. I'd like to see them get remade. Even if it's just the first one. I don't know if... I doubt the game's popular enough to get like a Spyro treatment. Or like a Crash treatment where they did the whole trilogy or anything like that. But we live in a world where out of all the things that I ever could have thought, Medieval got a full remake, and that still blows my mind. That was a really fun remake too. That was a really fun game to play. So I would like something to happen with Syphon Filter, but honestly, who knows? I guess I can knock all these out at the same time since I'll just be talking about the same thing. But yeah, it was February 17th, 6 days later, I completed Syphon Filter 2. And then after that, oh yeah, it goes off. Yeah, it goes out of order. So I did. And the reason is because I recorded a Let's Play for Syphon Filter 3. Because I did a Let's Play of Syphon Filter 1 many years ago. I did a Let's Play of Syphon Filter 2 a few years back. And so when I got Syphon Filter 3, I was like, okay, I'll do a Let's Play of that one too and complete the original trilogy. So I completed Syphon Filter 1 and 2 before 3. Simply because I was recording for that one, so I wasn't playing it like all the time. Just on record dates when I could find the time to set everything up and get it all good. But yeah, so Syphon Filter 1 on the 11th and 2 on the 17th. I think when I think about these games, I always consider 2 the hardest of the trilogy. But when I played it in February, I actually found it far easier than I remembered. And like, not to say that it was a cakewalk, but it was definitely, it didn't confuse me as much as I could have sworn it did back in the day. So I was happy about that. I enjoyed it. And I just, man, there's something really great about taking out the rest of the agency in it, all the big names, and I think that's, I know I mentioned this in the last play, I definitely did. One of my favorite things about the Syphon Filter games is the names of all the characters. They just roll off the tongue so well. It's Gabriel Logan, Leon Zing, Lawrence Mujari, Teresa Lapan, Eric Romer, Lyle Stevens. What's Morgan's full name? I honestly don't remember. Dylan Morgan, there we go. Jonathan Fagan, Thomas Markinson, Anton Girdu. Who else we got? Is it Steven Archer, I think? I just know his name's Archer. Mara Aramov, of course. Vince Haddon. Just great names. I know that's probably a silly thing to bring up, but the names are legitimately great. Like, they're really good. Of course, this isn't all the games. There's 6 Syphon Filter games, but Omega Strain was not put on the store. Not surprised by that. Not surprised by that at all. Next on the list is Dark Mirror, which I finished on February 22nd. Well, I completed on February 22nd. So I had an issue with Dark Mirror and Logan Shadow on PlayStation 5. And the issue was that both games were based off of their PSP ports. I mean, their PSP original versions, not the PS2 ports that came later. And you're like, well, what's the problem with that? So the PSP versions are not censored. I mean, the PSP versions were released as is. When they were moved to PS2, for some reason, the games were censored. There's like no blood. You can't set guys on fire with the taser. And the way that Gabe kills Singularity at the end of Dark Mirror was completely altered. I don't know why that is. I just think it's strange. I mean, it's the same game. Shouldn't it carry with it the same rating? Why is it censored? I don't know. I probably could find that out if I look it up, but whatever. But the bigger issue I have with them using the PSP ports is that the controls suck dick. Like, playing a game like this, because the PSP only had one stick. And so when its movement is adapted to the PS2 controller, to the PS5 controller, it's not clean at all. And the way that the game expects you to move the second stick is not at all intuitive. And resetting the controls, I had to do this every single time I went to play the games. I had to go into the game, into the PlayStation's files, and change the controls there. Like in the PlayStation overall, not in the game, in the PlayStation. And then I have to change it back when I was done playing, and it was not, it was annoying. So I really like Dark Mirror. I really like Logan Shadow. But I probably won't play them again simply because it's really inconvenient. Maybe it's a complaint that only I have and no one else cares. I don't know how the general consensus on this was. Not fun to play because, like, the way that I think it was set up. PS5 controller right here. It's like the way that it was set up, if I recall correctly, is that, like, obviously you can move with the left stick as intended. Camera is supposed to be over here. It's not. It's not camera. This is camera. Can you imagine playing a game like that? You run around with the stick, and then if you want to turn, you gotta use the square to look to the left, O to look to the right, triangle to the left, and X to look down. It's fucking terrible. And then these buttons all did individual things. I think you have to tap this one to crouch or something like that. I think these were to change weapon ones. These were to change gear and weapon ones. If I recall, I think that was it. Because obviously they would want to keep it on the correct side. But no. So I think what I ended up doing was moving the camera controls to the right stick and then moving the equipment controls to the pad. Which was weird. It never felt 100% correct, even when I had done that and I was playing the game. But it was better than not. Big issue. I didn't talk about Syphon Filter 1 and 2 a lot in terms of like the story. I enjoyed them, and the characters I enjoy them. But Dark Mirror is the one where I can pick it a bit more because I do think the idea of the story is interesting. And how it's Logan reuniting with like a past love of his who left the agency, and having to deal with Red Section who are out to release Dark Mirror. Dark Mirror conceptually, much like Syphon Filter itself, Dark Mirror is a terrifying idea for a fictional bioweapon. Like, it is insanely deadly. It's so deadly it was never used. Because, like, Syphon Filter was used a few times in the backdrop of the original games. There were tests of it done. It was, and Leon was infected by it at one point. Dark Mirror was never utilized on screen, or I think it was even implied. I think it was only ever tested like in a lab. And that's it. And that's because, man, if they had unleashed it, it would have been like a whole mess to try to contain that. Like, holy crap. But yeah, I think the biggest issue Dark Mirror has is the characters, where it, like, the Red Section gets like no development. Like, all the character names, like everybody who's named, just their screen time, it starts and it ends. Like Red Jack, Black King, White Scorpion, they get nothing, and they're like the leaders. Like, compare that to even Girdu, who's only in one level. I feel like there's a lot more characterization with him. And if you want to count Aramov, I mean, she's in 3 games, so that's kind of cheating. 4 technically. Romer as the one main villain, Markinson, Benton. I think that they're more memorable in the first 3, even the people who aren't around that long, so to say. I think the only one from the first 3 games who's like super forgettable is like Silvers from 3, and maybe not even Kravitz. I think Kravitz has the advantage that he has unique voice, and he's the first, I think, flak jacket dude you ever fight in the game. And so that's a lot of fun. I guess it's just a difference. I guess they treated Red Jack and Black King kind of like Kravitz and Jose Marcos, both from Syphon Filter 1. That's just really minor level villains to take out. But it really sucks because they're supposed to be like bosses, is the implication. And Logan even draws a parallel between Red Jack and Girdu because they're flamethrower wielders. But with Red Jack, you literally get behind him, you shoot him in the back, and he's dead. And that's it. Fight's done. Super boring. And Black King, I mean, at least Black King takes a lot more shots. And the White Scorpion or whatever takes 1 shot to the face and he's done. Touchstone is a hard boss. Like, he takes a while to beat, but he also is someone he's the one I think you learn about and see in the game longer than anyone else. And Singularity himself is not around all that long, but I think he makes up for it in his final boss fight, and the conversations that he has with Logan in the last 2 levels of the game make up for that. And that's just, unfortunately, it's not enough to say that they're great. Red Section is still very undercooked, but Singularity does a lot of heavy lifting in like his 1 level. And Touchstone is okay. Everyone else is pretty mediocre. I don't really care about Addison. Didn't really give a shit. But yeah, so Dark Mirror there's give and take there, but I still really enjoyed playing it. I had a lot of fun with it. And then that brings us to now Syphon Filter 3, which I completed on February 28th. I finished the Let's Play for it and everything. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Like, it had been so long, actually, since I played Syphon Filter 3. This was the first time forever, and the only thing I remembered from when I originally played it way back in the day was that, much unlike like 2, I would get stuck in levels and just never finish them, and I would use a cheat code to move to the next level. With 3, I would get stuck in levels and then stay in that level for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour trying to figure out what to do. Quick example, one of the first levels of the game is a flashback to the opening sequence of Syphon Filter 1, the plantation. And you have to find plant samples for story reasons. When I first played the game years ago, I found all the plant samples except 1, and then I was running around in a circle like a lunatic looking for that last one. This time, you can see it in the Let's Play, I found them all real quick, and I was surprised. I'm like, how did I get stuck on this for so long back in the day? I'm sure everybody has that with any video game. Like, you revisit a classic game you played forever ago, and you just be like, wow, this was so much harder when I was younger. Not anymore. Speaking of Final Fantasy VII that I played sometime last year, I was like surprised by how easy that game was Um, but yeah, I think the interesting thing about Syphon Filter 3 also is that the game, I mentioned it here, like down in the bottom. The missions in Syphon Filter 3 feel like multiplayer objectives. I don't know how else to describe them. It feels like it drops you off on a map and it wants you to do a specific set of tasks, almost like it's a multiplayer game or something. And there's supposed to be people to stop you from doing those tasks. But it's all AI enemies and you're playing by yourself. It's just some of the levels felt really like a challenge, not like a level. Like, oh, in this obstacle you need to do this, this, and this, and try not to get killed, kind of thing. I know that sounds really vague and maybe it doesn't make any sense, just like what we're talking about, but it really did feel like that. Something about the levels of Syphon Filter 3 did not feel as levelly as the first two. I don't know how to say it. I think the best example I could give is the present day chapters where Leon has to go and stop the agency from the remnants of the agency from killing all these people that they were testing Syphon Filter on. Literally, the map is just a whole big square. It's a village, and you just have to run around the village and look for specific things. I don't know. It was just something I noticed, and also the levels felt shorter, like much shorter. Seriously, like the final levels are very, very short. I still enjoyed it, and it's a nice close to the trilogy and ending everything off before resetting the board and putting Gabe at the top of a new agency. The thing is funny. They went from the Black Box Agency, which didn't really have a name, to the International Presidential Consulting Agency. I think this is the IPCA for the next 4 games. 3 games. Right, yeah. Omega Strain, Logan Shadow, Dark Mirror. Yeah. 7-3 is fun. Also, I think this is the one game that had the multiplayer mode. They had like a single player bonus mode. It was like a mission mode where you can pick a character to play as and you have to run around a certain area and do a specific thing, like kill all these enemies without getting spotted, or do this or do that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And the story missions felt like slightly more involved versions of that minigame. Yeah. I think it was fun. I played it a bit and I'm like, I think I remember playing this minigame thing a lot back on PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. I think it was PlayStation 1. So in the middle of all this, we got a little fun guy right here. Oh boy. On February 28th, I finished watching Ohsama Sentai KingOhger. At the time, the latest Super Sentai series. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I recorded after I finished watching it, I recorded a video of me just blabbing about how great it was for like 20-30 minutes, and I've never uploaded it. I should do that now. I think I'll do that after I edit this one. Edit. Because it was good. Like, KingOhger was fantastic. And one reason I think I really liked it, which is similar to Kira Major, why Super Sentai, Machine Sentai Kira Major has such a strong imprint in my mind, is because Dawn Brothers suck dick. Like, I think that's a hot take. I don't think that's the generally accepted view for Avatar Sentai Dawn Brothers, but man, did I hate Dawn Brothers. I won't go any more in depth into it. So getting into KingOhger, I was like sold immediately from like the first handful of episodes. It's good. It's so much better. I love the characters so much. I love the story. It has 2 arcs, and I was amazed by how well everything paid off. Not just in the first arc by itself, but events in the first arc fully expanded in the second. And the Dagdedo, Space Bug King Dagdedo, is like one of my all-time favorite Super Sentai main villains. Like, he's fantastic. He's hilarious. He's great. It's an issue that a lot of Sentai seasons have. Their common trope is sealed evil in a can. And I get it. I get the idea of why that's the trope they go with. The problem is that means that the main bad you never see until like the last 3 episodes. And then like he comes out of whatever can he was in, and then they defeat him and it's done. It's like, oh, they were always so scared of him escaping that can, and then he escapes the can and immediately gets taken out. Dagdedo, starting with the second part, he's consistently around and consistently up everyone's ass along with his generals for the rest of part 2. And it just makes him stand out so much more because he's always kicking their asses. And it's fantastic. It's a great way to build him up. And it all comes to a head in the greatest final battle in a Sentai in so long. I honestly can't remember the last time there was a final battle that I enjoyed nearly as much as the last 3 episodes of KingOhger are some of the most peak incredible Super Sentai I've ever seen. And just the ending is wonderful. It's so good. Like, it's such a fantastic season. I would watch the whole thing again. No doubt. Like, I would have no problem watching this whole thing again. It was so good. Like, I can't recommend it enough. Like, it's a great season of Super Sentai. Like, I think there was some people who were split on certain things about it, but I'm like, it's just so good. And, like, once again, it could be me blowing it up because of how bad I thought Dawn Brothers was. But it was so good. Like, I'm gonna stick with that. Like, regardless of what anyone thinks about it. Nah. KingOhger is fantastic. And I will say, just as a quick addendum right in the middle here, that I just started, like literally just started watching Boon Boomjer, the current one. And the immediate thing that sticks out to mind, 2 episodes into it, is that after 2 years, they finally brought back the roll call. So I'm happy about that. Because Dawn Brothers didn't have one. They roll called in Dawn Brothers, I think, 3 times in the entire show. And the first 2 were interrupted. And the last one has a big pause right in the middle of it. KingOhger, I don't think had a roll call either. So getting to Boon Boomjer and where the characters, they have their pose, they announce their name, big explosion, stuff like that. It's like, man, we're back. You know, we got this part back. That's the one thing I wish KingOhger had a bit more of. But, you know, gotta take a sacrifice for all the good. It's just, oh man, what a good show. Like, oh man, this video is turning out longer than I wanted it to. And I could talk about KingOhger forever. I really could. It was that amazing. Oh man, that was a good time. It was really good. Very excellent. And last thing I did that month on Leap Day, February 29th, was when I finished Logan Shadow. Yeah. Logan Shadow fixed the problem with Dark Mirror, where it came down with the like, Dark Mirror had Red Section, all those generals who ultimately didn't matter. Logan Shadow has Hassan Al-Bitar, Trinidad, and Cordell, Robert Cordell. And they excel. As the 3 villains for that game, they do great. That's all that I needed. Like, all 3 of them are memorable for different reasons, and they all work opposite Logan and Teresa, who drive most of the action since Leon's missing for most of the game. And Mujari, they just decided not to use in this game. Like, he's barely in it. But having a much more stripped down cast really allowed them to do much more work, in my opinion. And it really came off. It really came out work. It worked well for the last game in the series. I still think the ending was unnecessary. Like it was weird the way they ended it, and it came out that the guy, the people behind the game, ended it the way that they did because they wanted to kill off any possibility for like another sequel, because they didn't want to do another sequel. And I'm like, okay, then you don't do another sequel. You don't have to end it that way. Like, everything else leading up to that is great. I think the way that the game actually ends before the post-credit scene is fine. I think it would have been good, all right, to end it there. Maybe give a little bit more finality to it, but yeah, no, I think they shoot the game in the back of the head, and they're like, okay, we're done. No more Syphon Filter ever. It's kind of a bummer. You know, man, I think I spent most of this video talking about Syphon Filter, which is random addendum for KingOhger. But no, yeah, it's true. I mean, I love the series. Really good classic games, and I definitely recommend picking them up. And while Logan Shadow and Dark Mirror do have weird control issues, the first 3 are perfectly fine, and I definitely recommend checking them out. That's it for February. See you in the next video where we hit up March. Until then, hasta.